Hey guys, in this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to create a resume, and we're going to do it from a template today. So when I open up Word, notice I'm right here in the templates. If you are not in the templates, you can go to File and New, and that will also take you here to the templates. And so up at the top here, I can search, and so I'm going to search for resumes. And I want to look for something that's professional, but also is going to fit my needs. And normally, honestly, I would create this from scratch, which we'll be doing a little bit later. But again, you could use resumes that are available to you here in Word. All right, so I'm going to go with the second one because it looks pretty good. So it looks like this is just called resume, and you can kind of see what it looks like here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create. And as I open this up, there are a couple of things that I notice. Number one, some things are out of order. And number two, it's not going to be very easy to use because they are using tables. And you can kind of see that here. You can even see I've already done something and I have no idea what I've done. So the first thing that you might do is you might go in, and if you're seeing these symbols, that's kind of a bad sign. That means this is going to be a little bit more challenging for you. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. And it looks like those kind of roll up and down, and that's kind of what I did. So I'm actually going to go back into File New, and I'm going to look for resumes again. Okay, and so what I'm just kind of showing you is that depending on your template, some things are going to be a little bit more challenging, where other things will be a little bit easier. So you want to make sure that you're choosing a good template from the very beginning. So now I'm going to scroll through here, and I'm going to see if I can find a better resume option. Okay, so again, I can click on it, and it looks like this one might not be using tables. I'm not quite positive. So again, I'll hit create. And no, I'm not seeing the table option. I'm still seeing the drop downs, but I'm not seeing the table. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one. So the first thing that I'm going to do is notice that it puts my name up here at the top. I'm going to go ahead and capitalize that, Ashley Wright. If yours did not put your name in there, then you'll want to type that in. Next, you'll want to give them your contact information because, of course, if they want to hire you for the position, then you would want to make sure that you give them your contact. So I'm going to put in my email, and then I'm going to put in my phone number. So 404 409 4516. And if I don't need something like the extension, I could always just select that and hit delete. And notice how they have like the nice little symbol there that's separating it. I can turn my formatting marks off so I can see it a little bit better. And so, yeah, this looks really nice. It's got my name, it's got my email, and it's got my phone number. All right, so the first part of your resume should be your objective. So that's in the right spot. And your objective is basically telling the employer, what your overall plan for a job is. And you want to tailor this based on the job that you're going to. So if I was going to apply for a job at Gwinnett County Schools, I would tailor it for Gwinnett County Schools. That's where I want a job. So when you're starting your objective, you want to start with to obtain a position as. Okay, that's always the way that you want to start your objective, to obtain a position as. And we're going to make this for someone called John Henson. So I'm actually going to change this to John Henson. And for his email, I'm actually going to go up here and change that real quick as well. So we're going to change it to jhartnow@aol.com. And I'm just going to leave my phone number because this is an example, but of course we could type in his phone number. All right, so back to the objective. His objective is to obtain a position as an illustrator, graphic designer, or magic maker in the Florida area. So notice it starts with to obtain a position as. Then I go on to tell them what type of position I want, and then I tell them the location in which I want that position, the Florida area. You could also be more specific, the Gwinnett area, the Atlanta area, the DeKalb area, something along those lines. Now, the next thing that should come up should not be my skills and ability, but my education. So I'm going to highlight this whole section, and then I'm going to use click and drag, which means I click on it, and I hold down the click and I drag it where I want it to go. I want it to go in front of the skills section. So I'm going to drop it. And so you can see that it did put that area in there, but notice that it did lose the skills there. So I might have to type that back out, but notice that was pretty simple to do. All right, so the name of the school was Ringling College of Art and Design. And then it asks for the location, and the location for him was in Florida, and it was actually in Juniper, Florida. So we're going to put Juniper, comma, Florida. And then it's asking for the degree, and that was a B, comma, period, F, period, A, period, illustrations. And if you don't know what that means that that's a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Illustrations. All right, now one thing that is missing here is it should give the dates from which you attended the school. So since it doesn't have that, I could do one of two things. One, I could use my tab key and I could try to tab out somewhere and add that in. Or two, I could hit enter and I could add that underneath. I think that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tab this out, and I'm going to use a tab stop. So I'm actually going to change my tab stop here, and we learned about this in the formatting unit, so this shouldn't be new. I'm going to set it at 5.5 inches and drag it over to the 6 marker. And then I'm going to use the tab key, and I'm going to type in that he started his education here in August of 2015, hyphen, and he graduated in May 2018. And notice how it goes to the next line. And that's due to the fact that there's not enough space here. So I would probably need to move some things around. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the Juniper, Florida, and maybe I'm going to get rid of that. And then maybe what I'll do is underneath the date here, I'll hit enter, and underneath Ringling, that's where I can put in that Juniper, comma, Florida. So as I'm going through the template, you may have to alter a little bit to make sure that you get what you are looking to include. You're not always going to include all the elements, and sometimes you're going to include more elements. And so the last thing I actually want to include for him is that he made Dean's List here. So I could either include that here, or if there was some type of awards, I could include that there, but there's not an awards section. So I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to add in a bullet option. So notice I just clicked on the bullet option there. And then I'm going to go ahead and type in Dean's List, comma, 6 semesters. And obviously that means that he was on Dean's List for 6 semesters out of the time that he was there. Now, if you had 2 educations, your most recent needs to go first. And if you haven't graduated yet, what it would say instead of an end date there would be present. You would include present there if you hadn't graduated. And again, the newest would go on top with the oldest on the bottom. All right, the next thing I want to include here is the experience. So I'm going to highlight that section. I'm going to use another drag and drop to move that up. Now again, notice it didn't go correctly that time, so I might try it again. There we go. All right, it looks like that worked, but it actually moved my my skills, my Dean's List. So I might have to cut that out of there and then add that bullet again. If it got rid of it. So again, just notice, I might run into some issues, but I can easily fix those. All right, so with the job title, he's actually going to have 2 different jobs here. So his first job is that he was an author / illustrator. And he did that at the company, let's see, was actually a book company. So we're actually just going to put the book name instead of the company itself. So we're going to put Sarah Lynn's Christmas Present. And then we want to put the dates to and from. Now, he only did this during 1 month. So we're just going to put March 2002. And then we're going to use the delete key to get rid of the other areas. From there, you want to type any responsibilities that he had here. And so he didn't really have any responsibilities other than obviously being the author and illustrator. So this was his book. So what we'll do here is we'll actually put the waiver publishing ISBN, and I'm going to go ahead and enter this in. And go ahead and type this with me and then come back to the video. So 0971170681. Hey guys, now that we have that in, the next thing we want to go ahead and do is add her second area of experience. Now, again, your most recent should go at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight this whole section and I'm going to do a Control C to copy. Then in front of author, so notice the insertion point is blinking in front of author. I'm going to do a Control V to paste. So now notice I have two of those. I can hit enter and backspace in between so that I have a separation there. The backspace was for the bullet that I had. And now I can just go ahead and change this with the most recent work experience that I have. And that's the fact that I'm an events cast member. So I'm going to type in events. Oops. Looks like I've got my caps lock on. Events cast member. All right. And I did that from 2000 to present. And let's see. So I'm going to change March to May 2000 and then space, hyphen, space. Whenever I put a hyphen in, I always do a space before and after. You'll notice they did the same thing up here. And then I'm going to type in present because I'm currently doing that. Now notice it looks like their dash looks a little bit longer. So that probably means they just have two of them there. So if I add two back to back, it basically kind of makes it one there. The other way, if I really don't like the way that that's looking, I could always do a Control C up there and copy that and then come down here and select this. Notice I have to be real careful about it. Control V to paste. So now you can see now those look really similar. So we can always copy and paste to get the same look. All right. Now, obviously, it wasn't this book. Instead, they worked at the Hillywood show. So it's the Hillywood show. Okay. And then we're going to list out some of the things that they did there, which was they were a costume designer / featured extra for the internet's most successful parody show. All right, and I need to come back and fix the word successful there. All right, now if I had other things, I would add them in, but this was the only thing that they really did there, so I'm going to leave that there. All right, the next thing I should add in is the skills. Notice that it says, on the design ribbon, you can go and change the look. That's just things that they're kind of telling you about, so we can hit backspace. I'm actually going to hit it twice because I want to be with this bullet. Now, I don't like this bullet because it doesn't match my others, so I'm actually going to back it up, and then I'm going to click on the bullet option because I want all of my bullets to match. They should all be the same, and your skills should be in bulleted order. So for him, he was a member of the National Association of Photoshop. So for you, this might be National Honor Society. That's what I was thinking of when I typed it in. He is skilled using Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, and Animate. Okay, so again, we're just putting different skills that we have here. You could put something like you have interpersonal skills or intrapersonal skills. So whether you're someone who works well with others, or maybe you're someone who, likes to work by yourself. Maybe you're a good leader. Maybe you have good writing skills. So those are the types of things you'd want to put in there, things that you believe you are skilled at. And I'm just going to stop there with those two bullets. Now, I'm not going to include communication or leadership, so I'm going to select those two areas, and I'm just going to hit the delete key to get rid of those. And I want to make sure that the spacing is the same between each of my sections, and I'm noticing this looks a little bit bigger, so I can hit the delete just to back it up one time, and now that looks consistent. And so now I want to put in my references. So these would be people that you would want this employer to call who could give you a good recommendation. So obviously, I would be a good recommendation for you if you're trying to go for a computer job. Your parents would be good recommendations for you because they could talk about, how you are at home, if you're a good leader, things like that. So obviously for him, it would be more of a person. So we're going to put Jim Henson. If you don't know who Jim Henson is, he created the Muppet Babies. All right. And so we're just going to put producer. And then we're going to give his contact information, Jim Henson at gmail.com. followed by his phone number. And I'm just making this up, by the way, 879-898-6767. And because I'm not going to be giving this digitally, I would right click and remove the hyperlink. If you were going to be providing it digitally, then you might want to have that hyperlink there. But again, I'd want to list my references here. All right, so we've got the important components of our resume. We have our name, we have our contact information, our objective, our education, our experience, our skills, and our references. So the last thing that we want to do is we want to go back and we want to make sure that everything is spelled correctly, everything is formatted the same way consistently, and that it all fits to one page. When you go looking for a job, the first thing that employers look for is spelling, grammatical errors, because if you don't take enough time on your resume for a job that you want, why would you put in the work for this job in the first place? So they're really looking to see, how important is this job to you? How much time did you spend on your resume? Then the next thing that they're going to look at is your formatting, especially if you're going into anything that has to do with setting up documents or emailing things. If you're going to be formatting documents, they want to see that you can format. So with an artist, they'd really be putting together portfolio because they want to see that portfolio work. So what I'm going to do is first, I'm going to make sure that objective, education, experience, skills, and references is all the same size, font, and it's all bold. So Garmin 16, Garmin 16, Garmin 16, Garmin 16, and Garmin 16. All of those things are the same. Okay, then I'm going to go back and I'm just going to look to see that all this font's the same. So Arial 11, Arial 11, Arial 11, Arial 11, and so on and so forth. And then you want to do the same thing with the spacing. So the only thing I recognize that's a really big issue with this resume is the fact that the title of their position actually appears to be smaller and in a different font than the actual text there. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to Arial to match the other text. All right. And then let's see. Now I could leave it as bold. I don't think it looks bad. But you know what? I think I'm going to change it from a bold to italics because I think that's going to look better if we're trying to make it stand out. I think that's the best way to do so. So again, Garmin to Arial, changing bold to italics. Okay, now again, I can check the spacing here. So if I'm looking, I'm noticing there's no actual enter here. So if I'm kind of clicking between these two, I'm not noticing like a blank paragraph marker, especially if I turn on the formatting marks. But if I highlight the word education, you'll notice on the design ribbon, I'm sorry, I actually said the wrong thing. The layout ribbon where you see the after space, it tells me that it actually has before space of 18. So that means experience should have 18. That means skills should have 18. And that means references should have 18. So the biggest thing with the resume is making sure you have all the parts, making sure that all your spelling are correct, and making sure that all your formatting looks good. And overall, I think that this is a really great looking resume. As I zoom out, everything looks nice, everything looks neat, and everything looks consistent overall. So that is our resume. Go ahead and you can stop this video. Remember, you won't be actually creating a resume activity, but instead you'll actually be creating a test project resume, and you're going to create your own without the template using the skills that we've learned. So you will see resume again. So don't think, oh, I don't need to watch this because you're never going to see it again. You are going to see it, and you need to know about the parts. Make sure you know about the parts and how it should be formatted. All right, see you guys next time. Email me if you have any questions.